In the Land, Act 2, Scene 1. For more videos on the same topic and many other play scripts and novels, please subscribe my channel, Learners on Board. Setting: the shelter near Kershaw's farm. Characters: Danny Lodge, Mr. Bukowski, Shadow Man. Danny had been staying at school that day in detention. He had been the last to leave school as he had been delayed. On his way home, it starts raining heavily, so he takes protection, in a small shelter near Kershaw's farm. Then the nuclear bombs fall. He is very scared and sleeps due to fatigue. When he wakes up, he sees the glow of the warning sirens and alarms on the hill. He sleeps again, and after waking, he suspects that he has radiation sickness. Danny is up and makes his way home. All around him, he sees destruction. In the book, it says that he cleans his body with his sweatshirt, according to the speech of Mr. Rhodes in the assembly. This means that during the assembly, he was non-serious, and now he has to face that situation and act accordingly. Danny is walking on the street towards his home. The bombs have destroyed everything. The people who made it to the shelters have survived. Danny sees Andrew's father, Mr. Bukowski, who has gone mad and was not giving any response. Here the definition of spacer is implied. A spacer is a person who has gone mad after the bombs. Quiz for Act 2, Scene 1. What is the meaning of the term spacer? And how can you say that Mr. Bukowski became a spacer after the nuclear attack? Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 2. Setting: the Lord's shop. Characters: Mum's dead body, Danny Lodge, Richard, Ben. Danny has reached his home and tries to find his parents and family. It turns out that he feels that they are the only people he wants to see the most right now. He goes into the cellar and sees Ben sleeping. Then his father comes and tries to kill him. He doesn't know it is Danny. His father finds out that it is Danny and embraces him. Then Danny tells him what happened to him. Danny finds out that his mother has died. Richard stops him from seeing his mother because of the condition of the body. At first he ignores it as if he did not care. Then he goes into denial, denying something that has happened to you, because he realizes he cannot survive without her. Then he finally lets go and accepts the sorrow and lets it overtake him. Quiz of Act 2, Scene 2. Differentiate between Danny's response towards his family before the nuclear attack and after the nuclear attack. Briefly explain the consequences of nuclear warfare with reference to the play script. Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 3. Setting: Kershaw's farm. Characters: Councillor Walker, Lieutenant Renton and Frank Fitch, Laycock and Joe Lightfowler, Michael Stroud. Still inside the bunker, the civil defense team is in shock and fear as the result of the blast. Counselor Walker is crying and denies and was unable to accept the nuclear attack. The highest ranking members of the CDT, Frank Finch, the commissioner, informs her that the nuclear attack is real. We learn that not even the CDT knew about the bombing and was utterly unprepared. The conversations between the different sergeants, Lightfowler, Stroud, and Laycock, indicate that they are plotting something selfish. Question number 1. Compare the standard of Danny's living to the military living style back at Kershaw's farm. Question number 2. In your opinion, are CDT members doing what they are expected to do as government officials? Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 4. Setting, the well. Characters, Danny Lodge and Andrea Bukowski, Kim Cowley, Tracy Hansen, Chris Holmes. The Skipley survivors, Danny and Andrew, are in a queue for water. They discuss with each other about their father's behavior after the nuclear attack. Mr. Bukowski and Andrew's father has gone insane from shock and turned into a spacer. This might have happened because, unlike Danny's father, he lost more than just his wife. Then Kim, a fresh new character, appears. Kim is evading Chris and Tracy, two former classmates, while carrying some food in a sack. Kim wins a battle and Danny takes her away. Nevertheless, Kim turns around and tries to kill Chris. Danny stops her since he does not wish to do harm. This demonstrates that Danny is still ignorant of life's realities, such as the civil defense team's goals and the fact that people have begun killing one another for food, etc. When he tells Kim that he owns a store and has food in storage, he can see that he is still naive. Quiz. Question number 1. Explain the term survival of the fittest with reference to the play script. Question number 2. Compare and contrast Kim and Danny's response post-nuclear attack. Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 5. Setting, Skipley Town, the announcement. Characters, Michael Stroud. The civil defense team is holding their first public official announcement in front of the residents of Skipley. Sergeant Stroud is making the announcement. CDT has made their headquarters and civil hospital at Kershaw's farm. He announces help for injured citizens, and the people are really happy. Quiz. What announcement had been done by the local commissioner? Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 6. Setting, Kershaw's farm, medical wing. Characters, Andrea Bukowski and Mr. Bukowski, Lieutenant Renton and Counselor Walker, Commissioner Finch, Captain Laycock and Michael Stroud, Sergeant Griffiths and Samuels. A group of survivors is being addressed by Renton. He is approached by Andrew, who is seeking assistance for his spacer father. Mr. Bukowski's injuries are described by Renton as serious, although Andrew's is not. While they are conversing about the creation of the medical wing, Commissioner Finch commends Counselor Walker for her efforts and concept. It appears from their conversation that both of them are working on a sinister scheme that is rather drastic, very unexpected, or extreme. They learn about the resistance organization, rebels, Masada, movement to arm Skiply against dictatorial authority. From Michael Stroud, Renton claims that there are 35 sick and injured people. According to Finch, the cap was set at 20. No medical supplies are present. Without supplies, according to Renton and the CDT camp, he cannot heal the populace. Then Finch makes the unexpected statement that he will handle the situation. Sergeant Griffiths and Samuels were ordered to kill the badly injured people. The medical sign turns red at the conclusion of the scene as a sign that the CDT is killing people rather than aiding them. CDT's scheme is revealed. Quiz. What was the evil plan of Commissioner Finch and Councillor Walker to handle the number of injured and sick patients at the medical wing? Question number 2. Explain the following dialogue of Councillor Walker in your own words. Desperate times call for desperate measures. You may answer these questions in the comment box, and you can also comment on your friends' answers. Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 7. Setting, Ramsden Park. Characters, Danny and Ben, Ken and Chris Holmes, Kim Cowley, Michael Stroud. For the citizens, the Civil Defense Team has established food rations supply. The rest of the population, spacers, the injured and the ill, are in another queue, and the citizens in good health are instructed to stand in a separate queue. The fact that they are receiving food makes everyone happy. Ken pretends to be ill and waits in the queue for the sick because he and the others believe there's a separate queue because spacers and the injured receive nicer meals. Later, Charlie informs Danny that badger hunting has suddenly become popular and invites him to go because it is preferable to the food provided by CDT. This is a ruse in reality. Charlie calls common folks badgers in his speech. This demonstrates that the society treats people like animals. Survival of the fittest has begun and the concept of humanity has ended. Since Danny is still innocent, Charlie can easily fool him. Question number 1. Discuss the theme of friendship with reference to the characters of Kim, Danny, and Andrew. Question number 2. Do you think that it was smart of Ken to stand in the line of sick and injured people to get the food? Why or why not? Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 8. Setting, Mr. Cartwright's house, the badger hunt. Characters, Danny Lodge and Chris Holmes, Mr. and Mrs. Cartwright, Sophie Cartwright and her baby sister. Charlie and Danny are headed out to hunt badgers, people. Danny is still naive and is unaware that they are about to go hunting. They arrive at Sophie Cartwright's home when Danny arrives there. He realizes that Charlie has duped him and that he wanted him because the work required 2 people. Danny is made to put a smoke device inside the shelter of Sophie's family. He already has all of the essential tools and strategies on hand, such as a club and smoke device. Demonstrating his experience and prior performance, Mr. Cartwright is compelled to leave their shelter by the smoke. Danny suddenly strikes Charlie and takes the weapon. He is now in control. As a result of his needs for supplies, the Cartwright family emerges. Danny considers the circumstance before abruptly becoming hostile. When Sophie steps forward, Danny is surprised. She queries whether this is how he was responding to her invitation for her birthday celebration. When was her birthday? Danny asks. This demonstrates that during the survival of the fittest, people have even forgotten the date and time. Mr. Cartwright shoots Charlie. Danny is shocked. He drops the bag and flees. Quiz. Question number 1. Describe Danny's transition after the nuclear attack with reference to the badger hunt at Sophie Cartwright's ruined mansion. Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 9. Setting: the shop. Characters: Danny, Ben, and Richard, along with Mum's dead body. Soldiers: Alfie Jacob, Ricky Samuels, Pete Griffiths, and Dumperton. Sam Branwell, Rhodes, Mike Sandel, and Maureen Cowell. Danny is still in shock that he pointed a gun at Mr. Cartwright and revealed that he thought this was the right thing to do considering survival of the fittest. He also reveals that Ken dies after eating poisonous food from CDT's blue table, as it was CDT's evil plan. CDT soldiers entered and looted all the food from the cellar of their shop and kept it in a tank. Meanwhile, Rhodes, who is now a member of Masada, explodes the tank and kills Richard too. This made Danny hate Rhodes even more. In the end, Branwell, who is the leader of Masada, asks Danny to join Masada, but he refuses. Rhodes is presented as a sadistic PE teacher. Cite references to support this. What is the significance of the title of the book, Brother in the Land, and how is it linked with an old Hebrew saying? You may answer these questions in the comment box and also comment on your friends' answers. Brother in the Land, Act 2, Scene 10. Setting: the barn door. Characters: Shadowman, Danny and Ben, Michael Stroud, Kate. The Shadowman expresses how painful and difficult it was for Danny and Ben to live without their parents, and the situation is pretty uncertain. Michael Stroud announces that all the citizens have to work for CDT in exchange for food and other necessities. And if they fail to do so, they will not be given their rights as British citizens. Quiz. Act 2, Scene 10. Explain the Shadowman's speech in Act 2, Scene 10. Panging hunger and aching hearts measure these long and desolate hours. A cold and desolate destination. Unknown, uncertain. This dry and hardened heart, starved of love, starved of hope, in search of consolation. You may answer this question in the comment box and comment on your friends' answers as well. For more videos on the same topic and many other novels and play scripts, please subscribe my channel Learners on Board. Thank you.